Hello, welcome. My name is Alex, and you are here tuning in to watch tonight's game for our livestream weekend 2023 here at the Place Theatre as part of our gameplay initiative. My name, as I've explained, is Alex, and I'm going to be your game master for this particular edition. But we have a number of other games coming up over the weekend, so if you are watching live right now, please come back later as well for other things or over the weekend. And if you're watching on demand, hey, you've stumbled across us. Welcome. We've got loads of other videos from this we've done before. Feel free to check it out. I have a wonderful table of players around here in front of me. But before I introduce them, let me explain a little bit more about what we are going to do for this first 3-hour session this evening. We are going to be playing a brand new game to us. It is Agon. By the designers JohnHarper and Sean Nittner, published by EvilHatProductions. It is, first of all, it's one of the most beautiful RPG books you've ever seen, and it's full of amazing art. But we are going to be playing in the world of ancient Greece, in the world of heroes and heroics, when the gods are actively invested and sometimes actively pursuing the characters and the heroes who will be undertaking various trials, contests, and tribulations in an attempt, like all good Greek heroes, just to get home. That is our theme, hence this perhaps rather regal and probably slightly too hot thing that I'm wearing on my head. But before we delve too deep into the world that we get into, let's do a quick hello and introduction to our players around the table. I'm going to start. Let's start over here and work our way around this way. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us any random or relevant information that you want to know about you, the player?
Hello, I'm Ruben. I've been here before. I made the shirt that is now relevant.
Awesome.
It's very relevant.
Sick and dead.
Yes.
Well, we'll find out.
Yes. We'll aim for one, at least.
Hello, I am Oren. I started this group.
That is true.
That's the relevant information about me.
Hello, I'm Caroline. I've been here a while because no one can get rid of me, and I'm going to be back tomorrow.
Hooray!
I'm James, and I'm rather unremarkable, unfortunately.
It's fine. So if someone's allowed to be, generic.
I'm Rob, and I'm very remarkable.
But we'll have to work out how.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's leap into the game. Where shall we start? Start with some sounds of skirmish. Let's add in a little bit of colour for it as well. Our heroes have left behind a scene of battle. It's been fought over a long time. It's taken a great toll on them and the world that they inhabit. And now, with that conflict behind them, they embark, quite literally, onto a ship. The eventual goal is to make their way home, back to the islands and kingdoms that they came from, back to their families, friends, those they left behind to fight. But the gods have other ideas. The gods aren't necessarily interested in what mere mortals and those pesky demigods who get in the way of their plans have in store. And it's not long before your ship starts to get into trouble. Strong winds blow in, initially from the south, blowing you through strange mists. Islands that the captain of your ship has not see, or certainly not expected to be where they are, float past. There are days where the winds are still and you cannot move, caught as one or more of you has drawn the wrath of either the winds themselves or of Poseidon. And only through sacrifice, through the pouring of libation, and through sometimes ritual slaughter, are you able to regain the favour of the gods and move forwards. The ship sits for a moment, moving quietly through a late evening sea. A slight choppiness to the waters, but you are moving. Reuben, whereabouts on board this ship would we find your character?
You would find my character near the back of the helm, not at, but overlooking the captain and their duties, so they can have a clear eye of the ship. I am playing Despoina, the hunter's eye. You'd see their grey skin kind of contrasting the blue sky, with wavy oiled hair tied up in a ponytail with a dagger hairpin, thin one, as her kind of hair sways in a gentle breeze. Her sharp, narrow eyes are piercing and seem to search with a posture in her slender yet athletic form of that of a panther or a serpent ready to strike, as it waits patiently. In this minimal, ornate armor, pomegranate emblem on the left pauldron, with these almost silk see-through kind of veils that be coating over their being that seem to go in and out of kind of sight. And she stands with on board, a spear on her back and a shield.
Nice. The captain, a man by the name of Pharos, who you have spent a large amount of time sort of beside or nearby, is stood lazily kind of at the helm peering out, and looks back over his shoulder towards you and says, your eyesight is better. You see anything out there?
I see not which is a problem of yet. Nothing to observe us.
Good to know. It has been a challenge. If you see anything strange, you give us a shout.
Of course.
James, where would we find you on board this ship?
At the very front. So this is a kind of a, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, trireme type ship, you know, with the kind of the raised front with the tall kind of wooden pillar and then the single flat sails. Yeah, you would find Polythrastes, the unshakable pillar, at the very front of the ship, potentially even kind of arm around the wooden pillar that is the front of this ship, kind of breathing in the sea air as the wind. Did you say it was evening? Kind of
late afternoon,
twilighty evening,
yeah.
and this breeze just tussles the kind of golden ringlet hair that bedecks his head. Very little else does he wear other than his loincloth and his sandals, for he is coated in muscle. He is a picture of brawn and working muscle. You know, he is a thick sort, and he will be a thick boy, if you will, and he will be literally kind of arm around the thing, leaning out, just kind of surveying the approaching
whatever it may
horizon.
be.
Indeed.
Caroline, where would we find you or your character within the ship?
My character would be found idly hanging from a rope probably attached to the sail, maybe 1 foot on the deck, swaying lightly in the breeze. Just waiting for there to be something to do. Scythia the Cunning is somewhat raven-like in many features. Dark eyes, searching, rounded, very much in the breeze. Unlike Polythrestes, with his beautiful flowing golden mane, her hair is long, shiny and black in layered braids that fan out almost like feathers in the breeze. She has somewhat broad shoulders and wears a bronze cuirass and linen wraps on her arms and legs.
Nice. As you are there, one of the kind of deck hands, one of the sort of smaller, younger members of the crew, who is sort of kept on board the crew to run around and do menial tasks like emptying out buckets and filling buckets, kind of rushes past and kind of knocks into you ever so slightly as they are kind of rushing forwards towards the front of the ship. Sorry there, Scythia. Is there anything you need me to do?
She looks down at him and pauses for an uncomfortable length of time before eventually replying. We seem to be quite stationary for the time being. It seems that the gods intend to sabotage our journey home in whatever way possible. I know not why, but I shall face this challenge. As for yourself, well, Despoina certainly has the best eyes of all of us, but you could also keep a lookout, see if there might be land we could rest at.
Oh,
Remind me of your name, please.
Pelon. Yeah, so I've got some slops to do, but if there's anything you need, just call out. I'm always looking for more interesting work.
Of course.
Not that I don't have slops.
There will be trials ahead, but I feel more confident knowing that we have a crew to face them with, including you, noble Pelon.
Thank you. Maybe one day. Rob, where would we find your character?
Prochorus, the god scourge, would be leaning against the side of the boat, a hulking, very dark shape. There would be a black cloak around his shoulders. There would be a kind of aura around him of go away. He would be looking at anyone on this ship who comes near him with daggers, and he's probably looking at Polythrastes with a look of, look at this pretty boy, what's he doing up there? I bet you he thinks he's a hero, and just there's utter disdain for anyone doing anything kind of helpful or nice. I've got a spear and a shield, very functional items. There's not really much adornment on them, apart from a little kind of winged chariot in the centre of the shield, and there's a helmet kind of at my feet that I'm not wearing at the moment that's got little black wings on the side. Apart from that, it's very dark, very moody.
Yeah, you see as they move around, other members of the crew and sort of the sailor folk who are keeping the ship moving have learned already to give you they obviously move out of your way. Not such a wide berth that you will shout at them for doing so.
Yes.
But also just enough that they kind of move around you.
Yeah.
And avoid too much engagement between the two of you. But for now, you are left largely to your own devices as we see where Oren is.
There's a rumbling beneath the deck. Clanging of metal. But no one's intimidated by this. Almost warmed by it. You see a rather short, wide man, long beard tied in a single knot, head shaven, wearing a black apron, swinging a chain with a hammerhead attached to the end against the metal beams that hold this ship together, repairing any damages from previous battles, and singing to himself.
It is warm and close here. The ships are not deep hulled, and there is very little space realistically between the deck above, which most life takes place on, and the sort of basically like a kind of deep bilge where you have set up a forge. The water still occasionally tries to make its way in here and succeeds in doing so, but you are able to run these repairs. But the fact that you have set up some kind of fire-based system into here means that it is at best sweaty and at worst uncomfortable. But still, the sound of ringing anvil, the sound of hammering, has, as you say, filled people at first where it brought them fear. Now it has brought them comfort, knowing that there is someone aboard ship who is attempting to look out for the well-being of this vessel. But by and large, you are left alone down here, unless occasionally a kind of ship urchin type character is sent down to find out what you need, or to find out what it is that you've just done because something's changed. So, now we know where you are, and more importantly, who you are. There is a phase in this called Fellowship, which we always do when we are in the voyage mode. And the Fellowship stage, each of you will pick another character around the table, and you will ask them a question. It could be a question about how they came to be who they are, or what's important to them. It could be a psychological question. How are they feeling? How are they? What are they looking forward to? But you will ask a question. That character will answer, and then the two of you will mark a bond with each other. You don't all have to have bonds with each other. Obviously, you can have multiple. All of you could choose to have bonds with one person, but this bond will come into play later when we reach contests, as it is something you can draw upon to gain advantage in a situation. So, with that in mind, who is in our most interesting position to start this? Let's start with our surly companion.
Why is the forge worth the risk of fire on a ship?
Much like a hearth to a home, without a fire to warm you, it will all be cold.
Nice. So Prochorus, you have a bond with Deimos. Deimos, you have a bond with Prochorus. Add that into your bonds section. Very good.
Of course. Why must he be your shadow in such times when there can be light?
Because there is no hope when the world is run by the selfish, the vain, and the patheticness of Mount Olympus.
Well, I hope you do not mirror them too closely.
Prochorus, you have a bond with
Despoina.
Spoiler, you have a bond with Prochorus. Demos, who would you like to choose?
What lies beneath your disdain for armor?
So are these questions asked to us as people or us as characters?
As characters.
Ah, okay. One needs no armor. We are all heroes in the making, and we must prove ourselves accordingly.
We are. There's a confident soul.
Prochorus spits over the side of the ship.
The two of you add a bond with each other.
That's
Who hasn't picked someone yet? You haven't. And
No,
you
I
haven't.
I have.
Oh, you went. Yes, you did. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, yeah. Caroline. Scythia. Who would you like to ask a question?
At this point, what feeds your drive to return home?
To be at one in a certain place is much to my utmost request. I have a father, Donis. I'm sure he's not around forever upon our mortal realm. I must return to my mother's. So I'd like to make the most, I think, with him,
Beloveds to return to.
as do we all, even in beyond death, I must say.
And finally, Polythrastes. Who would you like to ask a question of?
I will leap down from the maidenhead, and clap the various sailors on the back. Yeah, and they will likely be sent flying.
Blood out the mouths.
Prochorus, is there nothing that brings you joy?
Sinking my spear into a foe. Or someone who doesn't respect my personal space.
Duly noted.
Oh, wonderful. So, with some bonds forged, tentative though they may be, and antagonistic in some places as well, but you know, it's the same. The ship moves on. Night falls, and there is a full moon that sits and hangs bright in the sky. It is almost bright enough under the moonlight to see and go about your normal business. And the winds pick up ever so slightly, allowing the ship some forward momentum. And there is a sense of relief in the sailors. The captain calls out and says, "Well, we have a bit of momentum at last. As the night is so good, why not? I make a suggestion. How about a little bit of night swimming? Perhaps we will catch some interesting fish. Would any of you like to join this challenge? See who can catch the most interesting night fish."
Polythrastes is already disrobing.
Is this not your chosen ones, more provenance, may I say?
I am at home in the darkness. I will hunt these fish.
We are going to have a contest. First contest of our game. This contest will determine who the leader is for the rest of the session.
Two very different games.
The leader will be the final arbiter of the choice of how the heroes go about overcoming future conflicts and contests, which will determine what domain things occur within. So, all of you are allowed to get involved in this, not just those who have been chosen or put forward. So, would any of you... what's the question here? How do I say this? Who among you will face this contest? Speak your name.
Prochorus.
Prochorus will face it.
I don't think I can tie in God's Scourge here.
Honoured Polythrastes will take on your challenge, fair captain.
Very glad to hear it.
I am always intrigued by the prospect of finding new life forms, new experiences. I, Scythia the Cunning, shall face this contest.
Will you sink there in your armour, friend? The one you seem to not disrobe at all.
One does not sink.
Oh, maybe put your armour to the test, then.
Deimos, the Forge Master, with net in hand.
I, Despoina, the Hunter's Eye, shall take part, I believe.
Awesome. Each of you has put yourself forward to win leadership through this contest. I'm going to roll 2d6.
So is this the strife? Or the
I am the Strife player. That is my name, as you might have seen in the overlay. I embody all of the problems that exist in this world,
Damn it.
both real and imaginary. So here we are. That is a 5. That is your target, people. So I would like each of you to roll. First hero chooses leader for the next island. I would like each. This is the first time we've ever played this, by the way. So I'm a little bit finding my way through bits of it. So if I get stuff wrong, which I probably will, then apologies. My microphone is also falling off my glasses. So sorry. Each of you is going to roll your name die. If you wish to call upon divine favour in this moment to gain an extra d4 to your roll, depends how important it is to you, you will burn one of your divine favours. Or you could just rely on everyone around the table being an equally good leader. I am, however, going to allow Despoina to roll their epithet dice, because I think, given that this is a contest of finding and catching the most interesting nighttime aquatic creature, that the Hunter's Eye will come into play here, perhaps more so than any of the other of your epithets. So everyone else is going to roll 1d6, and you're going to roll 2d6, unless anyone would like to add in.
We don't get the domain for this.
There is no domain for this one.
Oh, it's very tempting.
I know, right?
Because you're trying to roll beta 5.
Exactly. 1d6. It'd be a hell of a low bar to
You have
fail
a
at
1
catching
in 6
fish.
chance.
Do you need to exceed it or just meet it?
Meet it.
Okay.
I'm gonna burn my favour with Ares.
Okay. Remember that when we come to explaining what happens in this contest, you must build in how Ares has helped you to your description. Ready?
I think I'm gonna call on Poseidon.
Okay. Already we have a contest. Cool. Roll your dice.
So that's a d4 as well, right?
Add a d4 if it's relevant.
Oh, that's bad. That's good.
Almost max.
Who rolled less than a 5?
Yep.
Prochorus and Deimos. You both suffer in this encounter.
Armor not so buoyant now.
You will be the first to explain how you undertake this contest. Who prevailed? The other three. What did we roll?
9. 6 and then a 3.
Wow. Yeah.
Just a 6.
6. No, good work.
I got an 8. You need
Despoina and why have I written this down and then forgotten about it? Scythia. You both prevail, but you are not the best, sadly. And finally, Polythrastes. You will be our best hero. So, we start with the players who suffered. Please tell us how you met this challenge and how you came to fail. What caused it? Was it your own incompetence? Was it the machinations of others? Was it the gods themselves? Or was it just bad luck or the fates themselves that interceded? We will start with Deimos, because you're first alphabetically.
I grasp the most magnificent weapons. However, time in the hull, erosion. I seem to have put my hand on the wrong net. Can't catch a fish if there's a hole in it.
Yep. Your net thrown out starts to sink, and you see immediately like a large, strange-looking fish moving through, and you think you've got it, and it cuts through, and you see like the binding starting to pull apart. A forge master you may be, but a netsmith, not so much. Prochorus.
Prochorus looks at this embodiment of everything he hates about heroes. The reminder of Heracles, the favoured son of that absolute arsehole Zeus. And I say a little word of, come on Ares, this will really piss off Zeus. And he embodies me with this fury and this ferocity, and I put one foot on the edge of the boat, leap into the air with my spear, and my foot slips off, and I just tumble face first into the water, and I am furious and embarrassed as hell.
Just thrashing around in the dark seas, the light bouncing off, spear lost in confusion, but unable as others leap in. Despoina, you succeeded in your trial. What does that look like?
You see probably Despoina in her minimal one, just step off the boat and into the water, clear-eyed, peering through. They do not spear fish, but they kind of move their shield around to like hug it to their chest, and using that, they think I accomplished what I sought out to do, and they'll swim back and jump onto the boat with hugging this fish to their chest.
Successfully finding something tasty that everyone might be able to enjoy, and quick, like a good hunter.
Yes.
You move to take efficiently the thing that is most useful to you, but not necessarily what is going to be greatest or most interesting to the party. Scythia, how do you succeed?
I watch out for the clearest patch of water. It's clear out in the ocean, but there are some patches murkier than others, especially where we drift towards shallower areas. I wait until we cross a deep part where I can see, just below the surface, a shoal of sardines swimming around in their tight formation, feeding near the surface. I take my atlatl and one of my trusty spears, load it carefully, aim, leaning just over the prow of the boat, and fire it straight into the shoal. I then dive in after the spear, swimming through the scattering shoal, catch it while sinking, and emerge, my dive barely making a splash. And I hold aloft my spear to show 4 sardines impaled on it. Not interesting, but bountiful for dinner.
And smart. You chose to get wet only when it was most useful and most important to do so, having already secured your catch. That, unlike Prochorus, you were not simply thrashing around in the water with a sharp implement. However, Polythrastes, you are our best hero. How do you succeed?
Can I kind of just go ham? Is that the point of this?
Yeah.
Just go, okay. So,
Bear in mind that you've called upon Poseidon
exactly,
himself.
Yes. So my sandals are off. They were the first things to come off. I am dressed in a simple loincloth and my bulk. My cape, which looks to be a ragged lion skin, effortlessly shrug it off my back and stand up onto the railings with my arms out. Poseidon! I call upon you! Bring me the fortitude to survive your embrace! And then I will dive outwards into the water, and Polythrastes is going deep. He is going down and down and down into at the point at which it is almost pitch black and crushing, and only through the favour of Poseidon and his blessing of fortitude are his lungs not crushed, for he seeks a great prize. Fish are fast and nimble, but they lack strength. Polythrastes is looking for the offspring of Carcinos. He looks for a giant of a creature and sees it, a huge crab, wide as a car. He sees this huge crab with cruel claws that could snip a mortal man. He is mortal. A normal man in half. He sees this great creature, this foul offspring, and he knows that he must wrestle this beast back to the surface. And so he dives with all the weapons he needs, his feet and hands, and he gets this crab and he manhandles it, and the crab takes a chunk into his arm, and the blood mingles with the cold dark water, but he is not swayed, and he gets the crab into a full Nelson, which is difficult if you have less arms than the creature you're doing it with. And then and then around this beast he roars and puts his feet in the silty ground, and then will, using his powerful thighs, shoot back to the surface with this helpless beast in his grasp, where he breaks the surface with a laugh. Poseidon's will be done!
They're just thrashing in your arms, just legs, or just all legs, and then snapping is this giant. I mean, we're talking probably like sort of this kind of size
Big crab.
This takes up like a
shell.
whole boat.
Yeah,
That's
it's like,
big.
and you're like starting to wrestle it up towards getting it up onto the deck, and the captain's like, "My friend, this is you'll win the prize, but that cannot come aboard."
I thought the task was to get a fish.
And did you
The most
succeed?
interesting thing from beneath the seas.
My friend Prochorus, if it swims in the sea, what is it not but a fish?
This man is
Yes.
successfully won.
My goodness. Polythrastes, hold still for just a moment. Quickly loads up a spear into her atlatl. Aims
No.
carefully.
If we're going to let it back, it's
Yep,
not
that's
too
good.
harm.
Keep it still.
When you throw...
I think it's dead.
It's a shame your spears do not penetrate further.
A good one, Prochorus. And then hopefully, I mean, now it's dead, maybe the captain's more amenable.
He is.
At the very least, like I'll tear off a big old meaty claw,
Absolutely.
and just toss it up onto the deck.
We will eat
reckon-
well tonight.
You will eat very well with your various fish and your sardine kebab, and now a lovely bit of crab for everybody. Polythrastes, you will be our leader for the next island. So, a great meal is had by all. Eventually, the moon drops below the horizon, and the night becomes dark again. You sleep. Most of you on deck, under canvas or blankets, perhaps tucked down closer to the forge against the warmth. But the night comes and brings with it a warm embrace. Your wounds heal miraculously. Sea foam kind of just picks it away. You are awakened by the sound of the captain calling. "A land ahead. It is a strange and misty day. Or, perhaps not even a day." You see that it is shortly before dawn. A penumbra on the horizon, warm and orange-red, implies that the sun is just below the horizon, ready to peek up at any moment. Ahead of you, you see an island through the mists. Get to my notes, guys. The night remains dark, although there is this light on the horizon. The sky above you is dark, and as you look back looking back away from it, it's still like looking back into the night sky. The wine dark sea behind you. Scythia and Despoina, as you awaken, you hear sounds of consternation and surprise. There are posted sentries and guards, people who you have convinced to take over from you when you are sleeping, keeping an eye on the horizons. And one of them, peering out ahead, you suddenly hear says, "It's dark. Where is everything gone? I cannot see. Somebody help! Somebody help! It is dark."
I'd leap out, start heading my way up deck with caution, hands by my side for my weapon.
I go over with significantly less caution, more speed, because this sounds like a person who needs help.
Yeah, the two of you move over towards them. They are stood in their position, exactly like alert and on guard, eyes open, staring out across as they would be doing so. And you can see that they are blinking, but it sounds like they cannot register sight in their eyes in this moment. Which is strange. You are unable to do anything about it. And then both of you realise, you think for a moment, this is a god sign. This is information from a god that you have a connection. This is perhaps Hecate working their witchcraft. Her sign is darkness. The lights snuffed out, sentries blinded. Hecate is telling you something, trying to give you an indication of things ahead that may need your wherewithal to solve. As you are towards the back of the ship, looking at this and dealing with this, Polythrastes, rising to your position, staring out ahead. Beyond, you see the island, kind of as a silhouette against this orange horizon line. And then off to the side, there is like a flash of pure white, like a pinprick of pure white brilliant light coming that kind of intersects on that horizon line through the orangeness of the sunlight. A beacon, a light of hope, a light of guide. Hermes is speaking. God, you have gained favour with. His sign, the shining beacon on the distance, the guide to the lost, wishing to take people home. Hermes is speaking to you in this moment. How will you heed his warnings and signs? And what lies ahead is up to you. As the ship moves forward and it arrives and approaches, you realise that the sunrise has bathed you in its dull red glow for far too long. The sun is stopped in the sky, just below the horizon, and the world is trapped in twilight. You move towards this dark island, and as you come towards a landing cove, before you disembark, you see perched across atop a rocky crag, which makes up the majority of this island, is a strange light atop the hill. Ghostly blue flames seem to flicker, and they're kind of like almost like a kind of alcoholic lit blue flame light in the darkness, producing very little actual illumination, but standing out because of the colour pattern and the darkness behind. Within these strange ghostly blue flames, you see the shape of a mansion, a house perched equally atop this hill that seems to be veiled through this blue hazy light. Even from here, over the lapping of the ocean waves, you hear a mournful weeping, a quiet, sorrowful sobbing that seems to resonate and echo off the rocky outcroppings that make up the shoreline here. As the ship comes in close and you are ready to drop down your gangplank onto the beach below, you can see all around the hill scores of shadowy, translucent figures wander aimlessly, the desolate shades of the dead, somehow freed from their toil in the underworld, are here, trapped on the island and moving strangely through the dark night. The sailors, including the captain, are afeared. They lose heart. You can see already there are calls and demands to try to move away, to get away from the island. That the dead are too much. They cannot be. No human, no mere mortal should be forced to come this close to the shades of the dead. Only bad omens and bad things can happen. This place is haunted. The sailors cannot bear the dread from the wandering shades and the darkness. Left alone, without assurances from the heroes, they will flee with the ship and become lost in the mists forever. I am going to call a contest. The contest will be a contest of arts underration, which none of you are good at.
No.
And you will be competing against the dead. So, I will start off, as we always do in these contests, by asking you to state your approach. This is an arts and oration contest. As a group of heroes and players, I would like you to decide what your approach will be in this moment. Will it be to entreat? Will it be to cajole? Will it be to bribe? Will it be... How would you like to use your skills of voice and mastery? And what is your goal? Is your goal to keep them on the ship? Is your goal to keep them with you as a group? What is your intention?
Prochorus would be calling them cowards.
Polythrastes' approach would be to reassure. He would try and entreat them and tell them that the gods have brought us here.
I am like-minded. I could forge better chains than Hades.
Do not use his name so lightly. It's one of my dad's.
I apologize. I'll send him a postcard.
Thank you. It's my other names.
Two of you wish to entreat?
Yeah.
I think Prochorus would also kind of be saying, like, don't be cowards. These are this is just the gods playing games. Do not, do not run from childish whims of those fools. You do not need to be kind of defeated by this. And I've kind of put my helmet on, I'm ready to go and kill these things.
Amazing.
Scythia would bounce off Prochorus there, saying that indeed it is obvious that the gods have brought us here, for something is unnatural about this island, and should we be able to set it right, great deeds and possibly epithets of their own could befall all of them, if they are willing to be strong and take up this challenge.
At this point, I'd probably would probably suggest maybe just some rational conversation, with some light, just with the fact that we can always try and deal with this, and that no harm should come to them.
Leader, what is your group's approach?
It seems that we are trying to a somewhat combined approach, but ultimately it is to reassure the crew that we are more than a match for whatever is on this island, and if anything, we have been brought to this island for a reason. There is nothing to be afraid of. The dead have had their time, and we will attempt to tell them. I don't think anyone has specified, but I don't think we need them to come with us. I think they're fine on the ship. They can sit and have some reheated crab.
Wonderful.
Dangerous.
Seafood.
Your approach, as I see it, and your goal is mostly to focus on the crew themselves, to convince them that the idea of staying here, protecting the ship, and waiting your return is a good idea, and that you do not wish to directly. You're not going to go out there and tell all the dead to run away or to flee in this exact moment. That is a problem for later. Your approach is much more on the mortal realm. So in which case I am going to take the dead's dice, which is a d8 from my pool. I'm going to take the d6 for the domain. No, I'm not going to do that. You're going to do that. I don't need a domain die. And I'm going to use the epithet of the dead in this particular instance, which is that they are lost, which gives me a d6. As you are not directly engaging with them, but the fact that they are lost souls is causing this problem within the crew. So, let me just check. That's everything I need. I don't think at this stage any of the gods are particularly angry with you enough to make this a challenge. So this is see what our target number will be for your strife roll. So, that is a pair of 1s, everybody. So your target number is going to simply be a 6. Who among you will face this contest?
I, Polythrastes, will tell you, I entreat you, crew, we will overcome these shades.
I don't think your epithet has anything to do in this moment, does it?
Nope. I'm unshakable, but that's not. I'm not the one that's scared. It's them.
Your domain is arts and narration, so take your domain die
6.
and your
There's
name die.
There's only one person able to.
No. Who else amongst you wishes to face this contest?
Prochorus, God Scourge, will show you all that this is just a game of the gods.
Despoina shall as well. This is
3d6.
clearly one of my father's work, or my mother's. They both do equally well in this work.
2d6.
Deimos, may the fire in my belly be shared with yours.
3d6.
I, Scythia the Cunning, entreat you to stand alongside us. An army is stronger than any individual could be, and together we stand a greater chance of overcoming what trials may lie ahead.
3d6. You should use Scythia's cunning in this to find a way around it. All of you, please roll your dice.
Nice.
Add together the 2 highest numbers on your dice.
If we only have 2 dice, that's just both.
That is the both the dice, yep. What is your total?
8.
9.
12.
7.
12.
Oh.
We will both roll your name die again until we have a winner.
Okay, that's d6.
Yep.
That's a 1.
4.
You are our best hero. All heroes prevail. No one
Did we
fails.
get glory from the first one?
No, because it's a leadership contest. This will be the first one you will get glory from. So, in any order you like, let you decide amongst the 4 of you, and then with Scythia as our best hero, how exactly did you go about entreating the dead? What were your actions? What outcomes did they have? How did you tee things up for other people? How did the crew react?
As I was the lowest, I'll probably go first. Not as valiant a display as the previous night, but still. Polythrastes bears his armorless chest to the dead, the shades of the dead, and shows no fear before them. He turns and entreats the crew. Men! Fellows! We will overcome this, for there is nothing that cannot be beaten when we are together. These tests by the gods are just that, tests, and we will prevail.
The crew seem, some of them moved, but the more you see them look through their eyes and see a person of your stature, and you hear one of the crew call back, "That's easy for you to say. Not all of us have been gifted with quite such brawn."
But
Hold.
you are all cowards.
Friend, trust not in the wavering of your heart. Trust in my unwavering steel.
You got enough for everyone?
Let me check.
He who receives many guests has not time to turmoil in such matters. This is nothing but trivial, I must say. If you find this stow, however, it will not be soon. You do not have to venture with us into such dangerous murk water laid before us in your ship, but you can stay behind to prepare your own venture. Make yourself comfortable, warm, and fight this cold with your own warmth and fire.
How will we keep the dead away?
You're not going to keep the dead away. We're going to keep the dead away. You're going to stay here cowering on this ship, and we are going to go and do Well, what needs to be done to fight these game by the gods? Come on, you should be strong, you should be brave, you should not be looking at this fool and thinking that you need to be like him. You need to look at everyone and see that you can stay safe here, and we will go and deal with it.
How will we know when you return? We will...
With your eyes. We will walk back aboard this ship victorious.
You will see us. We will return.
The crew seem to need some final suggestion or indication that your return will be foreshadowed in some way. They do not wish to leave their heroes behind should things go badly.
Zithia has been quiet for the time being, letting everyone else say their piece, and now she has something to latch onto, something she can action upon. And she steps up to the prow of the boat and loads a spear into her atlatl and tenses up her arm really tightly, getting ready for something. We will be able to signal if we are victorious and that we are coming back to you. Simply listen closely, and when you hear my signal, you will know that we have won, and we are coming back. And she will flick her wrist, throwing the spear directly into the air so hard that it creates a sonic boom.
It's echoing as you watch the spear explode up into the air. There is then a flash as it kind of evaporates in within the sonic boom. It is only a spear after all, not necessarily made to break the sound barrier. But so that explodes, the flash of light, and then a short moment after, and you see, looking out across, there is a moment as well as the shades of the dead, kind of like their heads kind of just.
I trust that will be difficult to miss.
No, that is. We will await your return. If you don't mind, we'll pull the plank up when you leave, though. You have been victorious. You have gained glory in this moment, winning over. You gain a 6 glory. Everybody else gains 3 glory for your attempts in this contest.
Wiping the blood from my ears. Good show. You really put spirit into them.
Yeah, polyclass seasons.
Ow.
You can actually break the sound barrier with an atlatl, but the spear does not tend to survive it.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, well, that one definitely didn't.
Probably not by throwing it straight up, but I'm
Yeah,
a Greek hero. I can do what I want.
absolutely.
Especially when the dice said so.
Yeah, indeed. It is full of glory. The group depart the ship, taking with you any supplies or necessities that you might need, any further weapons or things that you feel may be useful in your investigations and movements. Yes, so just assume that if you need something, you've got hold of it. We're not going shopping. You move out onto the island, and you see it doesn't take long for you to realise that the dead out here are shades. This is not. This is ancient Greece. You are not visited by the sort of mortal remains, the reanimated mortal remains. This is a heroic story. You are visited by the souls of these beings, not their mortal forms. But you see that they are unquiet. there is a restlessness to their movement. They don't seem to be engaging with each other. They simply, each one, although there are many and multiple around, each one just seems to be stuck in some way in their own troubles. Ahead of you lies a climb on foot up to the manor house. But between you and this pathway, and along the pathway, the spirits of the dead intercede, wishing to stop you, slow you, and indeed entreat with you. How will you attempt to get past the spirits? Will you attempt to rush past them into the manor house? Or will you attempt to make offerings of blood and prayers in order to appease them so you may pass?
Are those our options? Or is there room for creative license?
You tell me what other ways you think. If you were to attempt to rush past them, then it would be a domain of blood and valor. If you attempt to make offerings of blood and prayers, it may be resolve and spirit. But if you have other ways or other particular outcomes, then speak now.
So is this a contest?
This will be a contest.
Okay.
Polythrastes, I doubt that these are the kind of problems that can be resolved by hitting.
You'll be surprised, I think you would find, what goes by in the dead.
You wound me, Scythia. Problems are not solved by hitting. They are solved with conviction. And it is with that that I would intend to solve this. So Polythrastes' aim, method and aim, is to rely on his conviction. The dead have had their time. These are but lost shades, and he will stride up towards the mansion, unbowed and unbent by the shades.
Interesting.
Effectively kind of ignoring them.
This would still be a domain of resolve and spirit. So if you were, we can decide different ways to achieve that goal within resolve and spirit. But does anyone have any other approaches that you might undertake that would suggest that you would all compete within a different domain?
Hades.
No, I think I'd stay in resolve and spirit.
If he's cutting a path, I can walk it.
Yeah, calling upon my honoured God that this change that has been brought about, that this something that seems unnatural to me.
Hades has clearly decided to release these spirits from his domain for now. He will call them back. I say we fight them. Send them back to where they belong.
Bit of blood and valor. Any other methods that any other domains you would like to try and convince? It seems like at the moment so it's sort of 3 to 1 towards resolve and spirit.
I am somewhat inspired by Polythrastes. It seems that he has other ways of resolving conflicts apart from wrestling things. Similarly boneheaded, but still different. I think I might follow his lead, but maybe use the terrain to my advantage a bit, trying to avoid the spirits where I can, and dodging past them where I cannot.
Cool.
I think that would still come into resolve and spirit, though.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds right. So we will contest this in resolve and spirit. However, should Prochorus wish to,
I was going to ask.
they
how
may
that.
call upon another domain as well, but you will have to mark pathos in order to do that. But before we get to that, I need to... so your approach is to... some of you to summon up the courage, nail your courage to the sticking place, and to move forwards with the courage of your convictions, knowing that these are merely the shades of the dead, and they cannot in any way really harm or hinder you. Those of you who are perhaps not quite so strong in your convictions seek to follow in the wake of those who are, or to keep close and sneak, taking advantage of Polythraste's wake through to draw attention away from the quieter routes ahead. And your goal is to just pass through these at this point in time. Amazing. The dead themselves are very much not aware of you until you get closer to them, at which point they sort of start to sort of drift towards you, and you hear like entreaties and calls out. They want to stop you, they want to talk to you, they want to tell you about what happened, they want you to send messages to people that they have loved and lost who are still around. They are trying to sap you of your time and your energy and your attention, really. So, the dead, roll a d8. They are despairing. So they will roll a d8. And we are fighting in the domain of arts, resolve and spirit. So, I'm going to roll these 3 dice. And the highest number +5. Your target number is going to be a 9. Who among you will face this contest? A reminder, you do not need to participate in every contest. If you fail and suffer, then you will gain pathos, which is effectively a wound to you. However, should you enter into the contest and be successful, victorious, glory awaits as heroes of old. So, who among you will face this contest?
I, Polythrastes, the unshakable pillar, will take this contest.
Add your name die, your epithet die, your domain die.
So that's 2d6 and a d8.
Yes, because you are fighting in your preferred domain. Who among you will face this contest?
I, Despoina, offspring of the dread Persephone, Kore, and partner to Nestus and he who receives many guests, shall face the dead as I walk amongst them.
Are you calling upon your honoured god?
I am calling upon my honoured god.
Take your domain die for resolve, take your name die, and take a d4 for your honoured god. And mark that off on your list. Who among you will face this contest?
I, Prochorus, God Scourge, will do Hades' job for him and send these back to the underworld.
Wonderful. Take your name die. Take your God Scourge epithet. And are you marking Pathos to also
indeed.
call upon Blood and Valour?
Yeah.
Then also take your Blood and Valour die and your domain die. And mark Pathos. Who among you will face this contest? You do not need to.
I shall not.
Would either of you like to spend a bond with one of the other players and lend your name die to them?
Polythrastes, following behind you, I'll give you a boost.
Mark off your bond with Polythrastes and either take an extra die or physically give him the die.
I was going to say,
Up to you.
if Oren rolls it. Oh, okay, thank you.
There we are. Wonderful. Those of you who have done so, test your fortune.
Do I roll all of these and add them together?
You
or-
roll all of those. For you will... yes, for you will add all of those together.
Yeah.
Anyone else, you are going to take the 2 highest die, and no one else has got divine favour, have they?
No,
So no,
I
the 2 of you will just take the sum total of the 2 highest die.
Okay. Crikey.
The target was a 9.
Yep. And we need to meet it, right?
Meet it or beat it.
Good.
Your number?
11.
11.
13.
13.
9.
9. All of you prevail. But Prochorus, you are our best hero in this.
Yay.
So, Polythrastes, what actions do you take and what effects do they have in this contest against the dead?
Polythrastes will relies on, not calling on, but relies on the conviction of Demeter, and he will stride towards the mansion. The dead have had their time, but the way to release them is to free the curse that assails this island. And so he will stride through them as their kind of withering hands claw and paw at his flesh, and he will continue with his stride. And his unshakable nature is battered by the relentless assault of the damned, and only through his conviction and the aid of honoured Demos is he able to keep this consistent pace.
Your pace moves forward and you are shaken for a moment as you pass through the shades of the dead. Most don't turn your head, but then as you round a corner, taking the lead, you see, moving towards you, eyes wide with surprise, Lithos, who you were left behind to go to fight. He was old then. It seems time has been unkind. And as he moves towards you, an arm out entreating, where are you going?
There is the unshakable conviction cracks for an instant, and Polythrastes begins to turn, but maintains his stride, hoping that his teammates can help.
Despoina, you see ahead of you your helm, the head of your party is pulled aside from a moment by this shade.
Polythrastes, they are not as they were in life. Calling upon the dread Persephone, you see sort of that vague, like the veils on them grow darker, and almost their shadow becomes an outline over their person, as when they walk past the dead, as this mystic aura around them, the dead are turned back as if they cannot stand to be near them, or they fall into a kneel or bow as they quiver and shake. As Despoina walks onwards, straight eyes side-eyed in you at a point, and a very subtle so that only shake of the head at your moment of weakness as they walk on. A dark god's kind of outline falling behind them.
As Despoina moves past you, and this kind of strange aura that emanates directly from the queen of the Underrealm, although she would wish not to be, you see as the reality of the form of Lithos kind of seems to give, and he's like, it becomes much more gaunt, and you see embodied, instead of the soul of the man he was, you see in that moment through this veil a more of a, like, the ghostly emanation around shows the truth of the skeleton that he now is somewhere deep in the ground. However, by calling upon this power, the attention is drawn towards you, and the ghosts and the dead seem somehow to have become more focused on you, because of the power you have drawn in. Something to do with the nature of the dread power from the underworld itself calls them like a beacon, and you see, rather than moving as ones and twos locked in their own universes, they instead start to move in to surround and block the pathway all around. Prochorus, seeing this, what actions do you do and what effects do they have?
Prochorus has walked in the middle of the group up until now, believing that your idiocy, like unbelieving that your idiocy seems to be working, and then he sees you falter, and then he sees Despoina attract them, and Prochorus sighs, looks down, hefts the spear, hefts the shield, and then just runs into runs between you two, lashes out the spear into the chest of one of these spirits that kind of shudders and shoots backwards. It doesn't disappear, but it is now no longer within harm's reach of you two. And there is a spinning spear, butt of spear, shield around you two as this kind of group of spirits try and overwhelm you, and there is just Prochorus as a shield around you two.
You rush forward into this melee of kind of like ravenous, hungry spirits who are desperate to feast upon the energies that are pouring out of the Despoina, and you bring the spear around, and it makes bare contact in the moment. It seems to pass through the kind of ghostly apparition nature of these beasts, and for a moment your heart sinks, but instead, with resolve in your heart, you lift up the shield and you rush forward to push it. And something about this shield, the chariot emblazoned upon it, seems to kind of glow in that moment and makes force, as this is no mere mortal spear. This is an honoured object gifted to you by a god who you don't fully despise. And there is like a moment as you are able to bash them away, and the light from this moment kind of pushes away the spirits, and they kind of drift back off as your energy dissipates, and they seem to move back into kind of more into their holding pattern. And you see ahead of you a short pathway, and now the house ahead. Immediately in front of you. 13 glory, 7 glory. I think that's everything. And I will say you gain divine favor with Hermes for using his shield in this moment, understanding that sometimes defense is the best form of offense. It's not true. But Hermes likes it. Ahead of you is the palace. This simple building, a few towers and turrets, columns, an open space, but all of it hidden and veiled from you by this ghostly blue light. I realised I just pushed blue up higher than it was, so it won't make much difference. This ghostly blue light acting as a barrier between you and the house that you wish to get entrance in. Beyond, you still hear this plaintive cry, this wailing noise. Will you stride brazenly through the veil of fire, or will you find a clever way to circumvent it and enter the house? What is your approach? What is your goal, heroes?
Fire obstructs our path. We have... I cannot be sure at this point what here is an illusion and what poses genuine danger. What I thought were mere reflections turned out to be dangerous already. I would rather not take my chances. And she's going to start looking around for any sort of vantage point to try and maybe scuttle around the fire or find a high place where she could leap from, perhaps using one of her spears to pole vault over the wall.
You are wishing to find a clever way to circumvent and enter the house.
Indeed.
Is anyone preferring a more direct approach?
Well, I think Prochorus would be thinking about kind of a similar finding a way through, possibly asking Nyx to kind of bring some darkness over the fire so that it's not there anymore. But yeah, I think rather than trying to walk through or kind of in any way kind of attack this problem face on, try and circumvent it seems sensible.
Polythrastes is nothing if not willing to walk into things, but he's not quite so stupid as to walk into fire.
Again.
First time was a lesson. Second time was weird.
They made it look appealing. But I mean, I think his approach would. I don't know. I think it will be somewhat more of a we need to find a way through this rather than we need to walk through it. I was thinking my approach was actually to invoke a bond, but do I do that as part of my approach?
We will do that when we get to the
Okay.
naming your heroes, speaking your name, and all of that. Right now we are working out exactly which domain this contest will take place within.
2 ideas. 1, water beats fire. Worth a try. And 2, what's the ground made of?
Dirt, rock.
It can be dug.
Honored Demos, is not your fine armor a fit barrier to this spectral mass?
Have you ever touched a flame to metal?
You have to give him a
I would rather not end
Well,
up similar to your crab.
You also spend your time working with fire, do you not? You are Forge Master. I'm sure your expertise would hold most note over this mission.
And your expertise with the dead, it being not quite a real flame.
Very true.
I call a contest of craft and reason. First, some information. Some useful information in this moment. As you search around the island looking for a vantage point in which to get a better sight, you see carved into a rock a word, a name, the island's name. You are here on the island of Akaros, an island of myth and legend, said to be the pleasure garden of a nymph by the name of Orphne, torchbearer of Hades. Only the single dwelling was required. After all, the torchbearer of Hades does not require a huge amount of help or outside influence. This forested hill with the strange lights flickering speaks to you of this nymph and the stories you have heard. As you peer closer at this strange fire, this blue flame that surrounds the building, you recognize in this no heat, only divine will. This is sentient flame. This is Phobos itself, the blue flame. Previously thought to be restricted within Hades' torch, something or someone has broken the torch of Orphne and extended the reach of Hades' torch beyond the realms of the dead here. You will be fighting or competing craft and reason against the only person who could possibly have the power to call upon Phobos themselves. Erastos. Magician, necromancer, obsessive, who has given their life in the pursuit of learnings that most deem unacceptable. So this will be a contest of craft and reason against Erastos. Erastos the magician has a name die of a D8. They are obsessed with mastering their skills. They'll gain a D10. And they are wielding Phobos's name die themselves in this moment, which is another D10.
If I want to join him, because he sounds like he's anti the gods.
That's my day.
This contest is mythic, as it involves the great flame Phobos itself. And I need to remember what that means. Each of you must use a divine favour in order to contest this mythic foe. A god must be called upon to aid you, as you are coming up against a divine being.
Do
itself.
I know of any connection between this necromancer and Nyx?
You do not, and you know that Nyx deals mostly with the material darkness, and that this person as a necromancer is more interested in moving into the depths of the underworld and beyond this kind of mortal realm sphere.
Cool.
Nyx oversees what is happening in the darkness of the real world.
Yeah.
So they are going to roll a d8 and 2d10. Anyone who wishes to do, I'm going to roll that now. Highest number is an 8, so your target for this island is, for this particular contest, is going to be a 13. Who among you will face this contest?
Deimos, Forge Master, honoured of Hephaestus.
Take your name die, your epithet die, and a d4 for Hephaestus. Who among you will face this contest?
I wasn't gonna, but now it's mythic. I feel like I kind of have to.
You also need to add your domain die as well.
Scythia the Cunning shall face this challenge. She will call upon the aid of Artemis to assist her in the precision that will be needed to carry out the maneuver she plans to pull.
I'd like to add my bond as well to Cynthia.
Thank you.
So Scythia, you are going to get your name die, your epithet die, Despoina's name die,
Also a
which is
d6, right?
and then a d4 as well from your calling upon Artemis. And mark that divine favour as being used, and mark your bond as being used.
We're no
please.
longer bonded. Unless we can meet
Who
more
among you
bonded
will
time.
face this contest?
So just wanted to, so we need to beat 13.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but we would have to have at least a d4.
Yeah.
So you'd have to. So theoretically, if you're not using in your domain, you'd have to roll 2 6s and something. This seems like very difficult. Surely.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Okay.
It sounds heroic, nay, mythic.
Can we call on more
Bear in mind
than
you can
one
add
god?
You
another
cannot.
die
You can only
if
call.
you
Well,
mark pathos.
I don't know, so I'm going to say no.
You can receive a bond and
You can receive a bond and a
Lovely.
divine favour, but you can't. I don't think you can call upon more than one. No, gods are fickle and selfish.
Yeah, they
I
were.
know, that's my whole deal.
Yeah. No, sadly not. So, who among you will face this contest?
I think I'm going to give a bond.
I, Prochorus, God Scourge,
Absolutely.
will do what Hades again has failed to do and keep control of his domain. Nyx, put darkness over this area to help me get through.
So that's your name die, your epithet. This is definitely a god that needs to be scourged.
Honoured Prochorus, I was left wanting in the last encounter. I have yet much to learn. I would aid you in the conviction to call upon Nyx.
I'm giving a bond.
Give your bond, your dice, and mark your bond as being
That's
spent.
dangerous because it's the same dice as me.
I think we've also got the same titanium dice, though.
But it's different to the ones I'm going to roll there. So that's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
So
They
that's
go
right.
when you use them, don't they?
Domain
Name.
die, name die, epithet die, extra name die from the bond, and a d4 from your calling upon Nyx in
Watch
this
them all do
moment.
once.
The three of you, please roll your dice pools.
Oh,
Done all we
it's
can.
not Good.
The two highest
Two
plus
highest
the D4,
plus
right?
whatever is on your d4.
Good.
if one of them was a higher number and another dice hit them and knocked it to a lower number,
No.
and that number happened to be a 1,
Well, in Greek times, they
No.
counted down, so a 1 was actually the highest one.
Uh-huh.
True.
Uh-huh. I'm guessing by that
Not
we've got
great.
bad news here, everybody. What did you roll?
before or after?
What is on your dice?
Right now, 8.
8.
So many ones.
What
Three
did you
ones.
roll?
11.
11.
What did you need to be?
Suffer.
13.
Ironically, mine would also
Marking
have been an
pathos, I'm
11.
guessing.
Each
Oh.
of you needs to mark pathos in this moment.
Does that include people that
No.
if they
Only the
bond?
heroes. Only the heroes.
Only the
whose
heroes. Oh,
only,
God.
only the
no.
heroes who
No.
spoke their name in this moment and
We are
took on the
heroes.
contest.
Now.
You all, however, gain 1 glory just for trying.
Good.
You know, sometimes trying is important.
Results are more important.
We would like to succeed.
I would like each of you, starting with Demos, and then between the two of you, to narrate your actions, what effects they had, and how you suffered in this moment. What stood in your path? Was it simply too difficult? Did you fall short? Did you attempt to overreach and in the last moment were stopped because of an attempt? Or were you simply unprepared for an opponent of this size and power? Demos, what actions did you take? What effects did they have upon this contest?
A mortal who attempts to craft anything to contain that which is not, the likelihood of success is low.
You, using your mastery of fire, you believe, attempt to create some kind of object or device that may, if not capture the flame that is it, the opposite, buffer it, send it away. Instead of trying to encapsulate it within something as it must have once been, you intend to seek to reverse that power, to push aside and create a pathway or doorway. But this is no ordinary flame, and this is no ordinary deity or being that you are dealing with, and your attempts are hamstrung by a lack of the right material, the right time, and the right knowledge. What actions did you have, and what effects did they have on the contest?
I myself climbed up a crag trying to get a better vantage point and found a vantage point where I was certain I could make it if I pushed myself. Calling upon Artemis's keen eyes, I readied myself, ran up and made the jump. And it became evident in that moment just how abnormal this fire was. For as I sailed through the air, it licked up to meet me. I fell inelegantly on the other side of the veil of fire, one leg singed.
You have made it through the barrier, but at cost. This was not a heroic moment. This is not one that you will hope that the scribes and poets will speak of. Nevertheless, it does seem as though this barrier is traversable if you take a more direct route. At what cost, you do not know.
Is I've forgotten his name,
The Rastos
the Rastos. Is he there?
does not seem to be there immediately. Not zero directly, not watching over you.
He's not got like a torch
So
shining in her eyes.
the chorus waits for the darkness that he is certain is coming to come.
And it comes. Darkness falls, the land becomes, the mortal realm becomes hard to see, and yet still there, flickering, giving no light, no real light, not illuminating the area, not illuminating the people around you, but just there, in its there-ness, the blue flame.
And he sneaks, or thinks he sneaks, towards this barrier. And very similar to Scythia, he thinks he's getting through this barrier. He thinks he's found a gap. But the fire is clever. The fire knows what he is trying to do, and at the last moment, it licks off his back and burns him.
And there is a brand, a moment, each of you who has crossed it, somehow this flame marks itself onto you. It has, you have rebuffed it by making through. Similarly, like what you created and crafted holds just long enough, but in the attempt for those of you who have gifted your names to also rush through in these moments, cracks and breaks behind you, and each of you is somehow touched by this light, this blue flame. This barrier remains in place. Getting back through it may be harder. The only route, the only way, must be forwards. Phobos must be re-encaptured, and Hades' torch must be made whole again. Ahead of you, within this dark, strange blue light, a grand manor house is laid out. You see, as you look at it, your eyes ache. It is labyrinthine, and as you seek to stare at it, as you seek to understand it and know it better, it seems to shift from your eyes, to move away, as if it does not wish to be seen or investigated. Some other magical force is playing out over these walls. And these corridors of the sanctum here of Erastos, formerly Orphne's home, seem to push you away. dark and ominous. As you move within, your footsteps seem to echo with strange sounds. You move forwards, turn. When you look away, doors and hallways shift and change around you, receding as if in a dream. It seems that Erastos has prepared for outsiders and interlopers. He has used his craft and reason to put a curse upon this place, making it harder to traverse. Although you suspect, although you do not know, that this may have a power more than just on outsiders. After all, this is not Erastos' island. This is the island of Orphne. Where is she? What has held her at bay? She is torchbearer to Hades, not some mere mortal necromancer. Something here within these strange labyrinthine corridors is holding her captive, imprisoning her here. But for now, you will need to find your way through them before perhaps you are able to hear and find the source of this distant, wailing cry. So, can you make your way through the dark corridors of the manor house and find the source of the weeping? I think this is a contest, don't you?
Sounds like it.
A contest of craft and reason.
Sounds easy. Don't think we need one.
Probably against Erastos. So, let me roll some dice. Let's see.
A contest of craft and reason.
Craft and reason, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Can we not change that?
Can we not?
I don't think so. However,
comfortable.
should you wish to mark pathos and bring in one of your other domains, you are welcome to do so. Remember that you will then have to bear that in mind when you're rolling.
Okay.
But the domain that this is occurring in is definitely craft and reason. Oh yes. What?
Sorry, we are trying to find our way through enchanted corridors of a mansion
Yes. Some kind of.
towards a weeping that we are unaware what it is.
Yes. Yes. Although you have suspicions as to what it could be, that it may belong to Orphne themselves.
Okay.
So, what we're doing? Erastos, the magician, has laid this magical trap.
Damn it.
Will all of his things be mythic?
Curse you,
We're about to find out, I think.
Yeah.
He is defiant.
Yeah, he is.
He does not wish
We
others to find out what is happening here,
Too bad.
and he is obsessed with keeping his secrets safe. However, he is not calling upon the power of Phobos.
Good.
He is using his own magical powers to control this. And so this is not a mythic contest. This is simply a contest of craft and reason against this dark necromancer. So, highest of these three dice is a 6. Your target is an 11.
Okay.
Who among you will face this contest?
And if we want to use a different domain, we have to spend pathos.
Indeed.
My pride might be slightly wounded, but this is something more in my domain, you could say. I, Scythia the Cunning, will take up this contest. I call upon Hecate to lend me their eyes, to let me see through these foul illusions.
Amazing. Add your name die, your epithet die, your domain die, and your divine favour from Hecate, and mark your divine favour.
I, Despoina, the hunter's eye, shall endure such punishments, Erastos. You mess with forces you should not be known to.
Take your name die, your epithet die, your domain die.
I'd like to also... Can I spend divine favour as well for Artemis?
Yes, you may. Call upon Artemis and mark that as well, so a d4 as well. Who among you will face this
I was going to
contest?
call on God before, just if it's a bit God heavy at the moment.
So D4, 2D6,
And your domain
yes.
I think
die.
I'm going to go for it.
I, Polythrastes, call upon the conviction of Demeter. This is. I have just the solution for this, and I will rip a strip of cloth and I will tie it around my eyes.
Oh.
I have exactly the solution to these infernal riddles. Demeter, guide me.
I, Prochorus, have no faith in your ability to do this.
I know your cloth is slightly shorter.
You are a fool to rely on the gods. You need all the help you can get, and I will give you my name die.
Oh, wonderful.
Deimos, Forge Master, with help from Apollo in his clairvoyant knowledge, will forge myself an attuned compass with his help.
Cool. Name die, epithet die, your domain die, and your divine favour of Apollo.
Do I get all three? Unshakable. Name die.
I don't think your epithet comes into play in this one.
Unshakable. How could you?
But you get the name die, so you get the
Yeah, I've got 2d6.
name die, your domain die, Rob's,
so 3
Rob's
then.
name die, and you called upon and a d4. Yes.
Are we
So
rolling?
4. Yes, roll
Are we
those dice.
rolling?
Your
What do we
target
need
is
to beat?
your target was an 11.
Oh
Yeah. Correct.
Your 2 highest plus your d4.
6.
So if I rolled it, but do
I like
d-
that.
only count one of the d6 or?
Your 2 highest,
So
and then your d4.
Thank you.
I've also rolled the d8 for my extra domain. So is it
Oh, and that. So yeah, just
all of them?
just roll all of them. Roll all the dice that are relevant,
Oh.
and then the sum total of the 2 highest plus whatever on your d4.
Yeah. So that would be the d8 and this d6.
Great.
Yeah.
Target was 11. What did you score?
I didn't roll.
You did not roll.
He bonded,
My name.
and thankfully did so because I got 12.
Polythrastes got a 12.
11.
An 11.
17.
17.
God.
Nice.
Only 15.
15. You are the best hero. So, we shall start with... oh God. You know what? If my brain could hold a single piece of information for more than 20 seconds, that would be really helpful. Scythia, we will start with you. What actions do you take in this contest, and what effects do they have on the contest?
I close my eyes for a moment and call upon a favour that I am owed, and when I open them again, they are bathed in an outline of gold, as Hecate has let me borrow their eyes for a few fleeting moments, and with them I can easily see through the labyrinthine illusions, see the true doors, and can guide my companions.
You see through the night, with the witch eyes of Hecate, the truth of the situation. There is something strange at play here. This is not merely an illusion to befuddle you, but some other form of enchantment is taking place. Hecate's eyes allow you to see the changes as they are about to occur and to plan accordingly, but they are not piercing enough to simply wash away the illusion here. Something more than just illusion is occurring. Polythrastes, what actions do you take and what impact do they have upon the contest?
Polythrastes. So we are making our way forward, and Polythrastes is blindfolded, and without, this isn't a stumbling through the dark, this is, I have called upon the conviction of Demeter. I know that they will guide me, and I walk forward with a powerful stride, and when I feel like there is one there, my hand finds a doorknob, turns it, and then I keep going. I can see nothing. I'm working on conviction alone. A door, a left-hand turn, a faint gust of wind brushes across my face, and I'm aware this is right now. As we navigate deeper and deeper into this labyrinthine maze, there is a moment
where I believe my heel is about to fall into a crack of stone that would potentially send me staggering, not falling but staggering, and there is a brief as the heft of a spear taps the back of my ankle and pushes my foot back onto the stonework. I thank you, Procrus! And I continue to just striding forward. Illusions have no power if you do not see them. But we are not yet through this labyrinthine maze.
And more than illusion is holding this place at bay. You seem as a group to be navigating the labyrinth, but not besting it, not overcoming its control and problem, simply making your way deeper and further within the place that you are struggling for. Each of you in this moment worries. The path ahead you are sure of. The path behind, however, perhaps you would not find it again were you to seek it. Despoina, what actions do you have in this contest, and what impact do they have?
I won't lie, I did think about blindfolding myself, and then you said it, and I was like, I can't do that now. Despoina, using their hunter's eyes, gains clarity sort of in this moment, as Artemis only enhances their precision. Kind of observing the route, however, with this precision, they also they take a couple steps forward. They notice Deimos working on something, and knowing their allies' strength and craft, they choose to use their precision to wait for the right moment to follow their ally instead.
You choosing to see through your real eyes and watch as your colleagues move around, navigating through this strangeness. Something triggers inside your mind, and you realize through your hunter's eye not just the actions of the hunter, but the actions of the hunted. And you stop for a moment and look to Deimos. You sense that there is something within this labyrinth, this maze, that is hungry for you to move deeper and further. That simply navigating your way through it is falling deeper into the trap that the prey will do. Something here, this maze itself seems to be predatory and willing you forwards. Deimos, what actions do you take, and what impact do they have on your successfully prevailing in this contest?
Hold my chain. I place my metal gauntlet in front of me. Tool hammer.
Clanging hammer echoes through the walls.
3 taps. Sparks. Sunlight. We're indoors. And yet it reaches through. Apollo has seen my request.
Bright light streams, both from the gauntlets and forwards, as if tethered off, forwards and away, up into the sky. Some kind of link, some chain between you and Apollo's light has been forged in this moment. And you sense you are simply to pull, to ignore the labyrinth and the maze ahead of you, and simply to pull yourself along this pathway through and beyond. You have prevailed, heroes. You get 15 glory. The rest of you get 8 for participating.
Do I get anything? Because I gave my name die.
You
Nothing.
do not,
No.
because you avoided also suffering. So, you have pulled your way through these strange twisting corridors, and find yourself towards a central opening. A courtyard surrounded by pillars. Seems as though the wailing and crying has been emanating from here. You see sat against what was once a vibrant fountain is a thin, gaunt, female appearing person. Those of you who are skilled or knowledgeable recognize this as the nymph Orphnae themselves. You can see from her demeanor a kind of hunched shoulder, a resignation. She is trapped here, held fast by these blue flames. Phobos, unleashed from her torch, has turned captive, or turned captor into captive through the same method. She is overwhelmed by sorrow. However, soothing words may lead her to tell you the truth of what has happened here.
Soothing doesn't really sound like me.
It doesn't sound like me either.
A contest of arts and narration against Orphnae will help you uncover the truth of this situation. But who needs truth?
I mean, this is all Hades' fault, right?
No.
He's been absolutely rubbish. He's let his spirits out. He's given his torch to someone who has then lost the Ouroboros inside it. Like, she needs to come and work with us and stop working for Hades and be rewarded by material things and not the lies and empty promises of the gods.
Please get her on side.
Contrary, for it is mortal who has turned against God, and this is punishment exhumed upon such. Doing a work to keep something tame and which could be dangerous has gone afoul because of mortal hands, gone idle.
She looks like she needs cheering up.
She definitely looks like she needs cheering
I
up.
think the only thing that I don't think, soothing words is something I can do, but I think jovial spirit, Polythrastes, he's your man.
Mortal, immortal, God, it makes little difference to me. I see somebody who is in need of people who can do great things, and we happen to have 5 of them right here.
It seems as though your it seems as though your approach is to attempt to revive her spirits, not necessarily to placate her or to join her in sorrow, but instead to kind of cheer up. That is the general approach. Your goal is to make her feel as though not all is lost. That in fact, this is the turning point for her in what will then become her ultimate saving and victory alongside you.
Very optimistic interpretation of what I said.
Sure. Well, it's from I've got to take it from the group, the table. Just cheer up. Come on, get over it. So, this will be a skill test of arts and narration against Orphnae. Orphnae is Torchbearer of Hades, so she takes a D10. She is...
Does she not want to be cheered up?
Seems not. She is sad. She's D6.
And her epithet.
It's one of the sort of
they call me Orphnae, the sad.
But most importantly, and what will have an impact on the game, is she seems distant, as if not interested in listening to you, which will make this contest sacred. If you suffer, you will have to lose a divine favour without using it.
That's not good.
So, Orphne, Torchbearer of Hades, sad, sad nymph. Highest on the dice is a 6. So your target will be an 11 again.
God. Why is everything so high?
Heroes!
We do other stuff.
Can we go and like punch rats or something until our glory goes up?
That's not heroic. That's not how this game works.
But, you know, there is a limit to quite how many rats you can punch. Where it'd be like, well, that's starting to be heroic.
I don't know. I feel like every rat is a new rat. If that makes sense. So, your target is 11. Who among you will face this contest?
Polyphasty is the man who punched all the rats.
I,
Seems like
Chorus,
saving the rats.
God Scourge, will convince this nymph that her original god has failed her, and she is better with us.
God Scourge, your name die, your epithet die, and the arts and oration domain. And you don't want to call upon any other forms.
I'm just considering calling on Hera because she doesn't like. I think I will call on Hera to just.
I will
get
give
one
you my bond as well.
Lovely.
There we are. So a name die.
I will also call on Hera just to like dick over Hades
Cool.
because they
Yeah,
don't like each other.
that's fair. That's fair. Who among you will face this contest?
Deimos. With Athena's wisdom to guide me.
Your name die, your divine favour, and your domain die.
Burn your divine favours now.
Who among you will face this contest?
I should have made a coward character.
Too bad, you're not. You're the opposite.
Polythrastes is woefully outmatched. He is going to. Guys, he's really tough. He's gonna lose. But that's part of the point. That's what makes it fun. The fact that you could lose, but you could get stronger. He's going to attempt to reach through the fire and pat her on the back. He's just gonna. There. Calm down, dear. It's only a commercial.
Filler.
Your name die, your domain die, and nothing else?
So because I'm unshakable, I'm unshakable. I'm the pillar. I'm patting her on the back through the fire.
Oh, there's no fire here. The fire, you've passed through the fire.
Wait, I thought she was
Unshakable
captor
resolve.
of the fire.
Yes,
She's within this whole complex. That you are
Oh,
now
it's a
in.
metaphor.
I thought she. Yeah. I'm not good. I'm not good with
The
emotive
literal
language.
fire outside is a metaphor.
Yes. Burns away
So
our
just the
spirit.
2d6.
I'm gonna suffer.
I do not.
Who among you will face this contest?
Oh God, when did I do
Can
that?
you face it and give your name die?
No, you cannot. You have to sit out in order to.
Yeah, I think I've decided what I'm going to do. I, Sophia the Cunning, will face this challenge. I call upon the aid of Athena to give me ideas as to what words would be most effective towards her. And with that, I'm going to take my d4 of Divine Favour and a d8 from my Craft and Wisdom domain,
Yes.
alongside Arts and Oration.
Yes. So your, I will let you have your epithet, your name, 2 domain dice, and a d4.
Oh, we can change the.
You can mark pathos and add an extra domain die if you wish.
Add an extra domain or change the domain.
Extra.
Add it.
What's your domain?
My domain is Resolve and Spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna.
mark pathos.
I'm gonna mark
and add
pathos,
that.
and I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm trying to just do it. So I add an extra.
D8. Yeah.
On to beat 11.
Uh,
Go.
So you have all of your pools. Test your fortune.
Oh God.
You can do it, both heroes.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I like that as well.
Oh God.
The 2 highest
Suffer for
dice
your
plus
god.
whatever is on your d4. Your total.
7.
Ooh,
Excuse me, maths. 15.
15.
7. 13.
Deimos and Polythrastes, you suffer in this time. However, you got 17.
13.
13 and a 15, yes. So you prevail. You are the best hero in this moment. Our suffering heroes. What actions did you take in this moment, and what effects did they have, and how did you create a system or situation in which you felt worse as a result of your skills?
My experience in cheering people up comes from singing on the ship.
Oh.
Therefore, I attempt to drag my friend here into a song. Neither of us are in tune.
Neither with yourselves nor with each other. There is a woeful wailing, and Orphnae's attention is suddenly drawn up. She's like, what wailing banshees have been unleashed upon the world?
My ears are bleeding again.
I thought I felt sad. I thought my wailing was causing pain, but this is unsurmountable.
Polythrastes, after being, it's a bit rude just to invite someone like that. You got to give a man a bit of an intro. But he finishes warbling, and then he strides over to Orphnae, and I'm guessing she's kind of moping in a pile, or is she standing, or is she?
She's just sort of she was just sort of leant against it, and then when Deimos started singing, her head sort of turns up, but still sort of sat on this edge of this fountain.
Well, he suffers, so he goes over and he grasps her by the shoulders and lifts her to her feet, my lady Orphnae, it appears as though you have been misled. We have come here to save you. Don't you realise that we're here to help? As he proceeds to yell into her face.
There is just a sort of steadfast resolve in her eyes and a deep sadness that looks into your soul and just sort of says, you will never know loss like I know loss right now. And in that moment, as you step forward and grab hold of her, she moves quickly and sure-footedly, stepping away from you. As you sort of go in towards her, you trip and fall, tumbling into the fountain and the waters below as she stands kind of having moved out of the way. Prochorus,
I laugh.
what actions do you take and what effects do they have on the contest?
As these two utter idiots make fools of themselves, I will walk next to Orphnae and I will say, I have known loss. I have been shunned by Zeus himself, as you have been shunned by Hades. He gave you this task, but did not give you the tools to achieve it, and you must now come with us. You must now fight with us to free yourself from this prison that you have been unfairly left in. And in my head I will say a little kind of whisper to Hera of, I'll get you this ally. She will be yours now, not, if we play this right, she can be yours, not Hades'.
You see there is a flicker of recognition when you speak of suffering yourself, and there is a kind of inquisitiveness, as if she is interested and intrigued by what it is that you have had to say, with this slightly more what's the word I'm looking for here? You've entreated her, you've met her on her level, which is interesting, but without kind of consoling her, but more just to sort of say, yes, I see where you're at, and it's rubbish, and I feel that. But you see, as the group, that she looks to you all, and she says, I hear you, but I have a solemn duty here, a duty that I have neglected, a duty that I have allowed to overcome. I have been tricked. I have been misled. I must find some punishment. Scythia, you are the best hero in this moment. What actions do you take to win over Orphney and seal this contest for your group?
Indeed, Orphney, torchbearer of Hades. You were tricked. But are you not an immortal? Did Zeus not trick Hera when he pretended to marry, only for her to gatecrash the wedding and find that he was wed to a veiled statue and he had eyes only for her in that instance? Did Hermes not trick each of the gods multiple times when he was merely an infant? No being, mortal, immortal, or god, is immune to trickery. What matters is how you right yourself once the trickery is revealed. There are many suffering shades on this island. They need you and the torch that you previously carried. And now you have allies to help you restore it.
Your words are good consolation. Indeed, you are right. It seems so disappointing to be tricked by a mere mortal. Although he wields power we could not possibly understand. He seeks knowledge and further power. He has trapped me here using Phobos, as he has created a rift into the underworld itself. What it is that he craves within there, I do not know. Perhaps he is jealous. Perhaps he simply wishes to have control for himself. Perhaps he is grieving. Nevertheless, I have been stuck here, unable to do anything, whilst this rift is open. I beseech you. I will do what I can here on this island to attempt to corral together the ghosts of those who have bled out of this rift. Head forth. You will find beneath here the rift into the underworld. Find Erastos and bring him back to this mortal realm. Or seal the rift. Although I fear what may happen if you seal the rift with the dead of this island still here. You have convinced her and turned her around, and she has shared with you valuable information that will help you guide the next steps. Caroline, you get 15 glory for Scythia. You prevailed. You will get 8 glory. The two of you suffered.
I've already marked off.
And you have marked off your extra. It's not pathos in the. Hang on, was it pathos?
Do we get extra pathos as well?
It was sacred, so you'll have to spend another divine favour.
Yeah, so I've marked off the favour. I took pathos because I changed the domain last time. I'm guessing I suffer, so I also gain another pathos now.
So you mark off another divine favour.
I've done.
Yeah,
I've
for
done that.
for suffering. Do you?
For suffer, just so.
Yeah, so I've already marked off the divine favour.
Yeah.
Do I also take
No.
pathos? Okay.
So when you suffer, one of two things happens:
Okay.
either you mark pathos, or you
Something.
lose a divine favour.
Cool. Fine.
And then sometimes, depending on the battle, you might have to do that at the start of the battle, not just at the end of the battle. So there are four outcomes to harm. You either have to mark Pathos to enter the contest, spend Divine Favour to enter the contest, or if you lose, mark them instead.
It's really fun to be a bit reckless in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've just realised there's the battle at the end, and I probably should have saved at least 3.
She, with her entreaties, I will also say, for your fine words and for your knowledge and your understanding of the stories of your own people, mark Divine Favour gained from Apollo.
Nice.
Yeah. It was very good.
Thank you.
Someone's done their reading or played Age of Mythology.
That was
Or
really
both.
accurate as well.
Yeah, it was good.
You delve beneath. You find this rift, pouring forth foul vapours, and the darkness
Dum dum dum.
of the lands beneath. This is a portal direct to the underworld itself, a dark and strange place. Foul vapours and cries issue out from the domain of Hades, this vast necropolis. You will need to summon all of your courage and fight in order to find Erastos deep in the underworld and force him back to Earth. Or perhaps you will need to find him and convince him using your resolve and spirit
Beat him up.
to seal the rift.
Beat him.
What actions would you like to take here within the darkness of the underworld?
I think Prochorus would feel quite comfortable here. It's dark. He's like, I'm gonna really piss off Hades in here. Like, this is great fun. I think he might like kick over things and like a bit of graffiti on the wall. That like really like petty things. Yeah, like just like really kind of like childish, petulant things. But he's eager for this fight. He is looking for signs of Erastos. He's looking for vantage points. His military knowledge is kind of setting in, and he's looking for tactical advantages here.
Searching. Yeah?
What season do you think it would be?
Ooh. Oh, definitely spring.
Okay, yeah. So just probably returned. Feeling in a home away from home, somewhere I've spent some time. Think Despoino would lay down a pomegranate seed on the floor to mark. Ignoring all of that, ignoring this heathen upon the floor, would start kind of dragging their spear along and marking out sort of more of an artwork and a piece of notice to my mother.
Attempting to draw her eye to this place and this time and provide guidance and solace. Anything else anyone is trying to achieve?
Stories of Stygian iron have dotted my life. I have a chance to find some.
Indeed. This is a place for interesting crafts. In fact, the whole place is an interesting craft in itself. So, investigating and seeking.
Polythrastes is
reveling in the challenge of this place. And he is lifting big stones and hefting them on things, and picking up rocks and skimming them on magma. Is it lava or magma?
Magma's underground.
Yeah, but if it's on the surface,
Well,
but we're in hell, is that in the
No,
ground?
I think it would be magma now.
So it's magma.
I'm enjoying this chaotic nature that's happening.
I'm just
here.
like, I'm finding discus-shaped rocks. I'm just go
Yeah.
for it.
Let's just call
Careful,
it lava.
Sisyphus. There.
I am searching the inside of every rock that breaks.
I'm just lifting up great big rocks, smashing them. And
Scythia, what's
Nice.
where is your focus in this moment?
I am thinking back to the stories I know of people still living who went to the underworld and returned. I can recall alarmingly few, but there is a precedent.
There is indeed. And there is in those stories a single unifying reasoning. The only reason you would go deep into the underworld, really, is for someone else. Someone you have lost. Whether that be love, or power, or knowledge, it is a need to see and speak once more. And perhaps, should you be cunning and careful and powerful enough yourselves to steal back from Hades and return them, this missing person, back to the mortal realm. Although, in what form, the stories are uncertain of. As your colleagues around you are, and fellow heroes are, somewhat distracted by their own interests, by their own needs, by their own areas of expertise, your steadfast resolve drives the group forwards. And you think to the stories, and you think what you know of Erastos, and you think what you knew of this great wizard sorcerer, what he has lost, and who was most important to him. And you remember one of his most powerful patrons, an island prince by the name of Archelius, who, through great power and wealth, and no little suffering on the part of his people, helped raise Erastos to greatness, gave him the test subjects that he might need in order to extend his understanding of the realm of necromancy. You remember hearing word of his death, and hearing how the island and the nation rejoiced at the death of the tyrant king. Only someone like this could drive a man like Erastos deep into Hades. He obviously needs more people. As you are delving deeper, darker, you head towards, and you see, engaged in some kind of deep conversation, mortal being. Bald pate, lank, hanging, stringy white hair, engaged in some kind of conversation with a shimmering, spectral spirit, wearing a sharp, jagged, black iron crown that's sort of embedded within the spiritual nature of this being, this person. This is Erastos. You have found him.
Oi!
Do
So-
I? So, do you want to? Are you going to say something?
Briefly, I just want to get the consensus of this group. I doubt that a person such as Erastos can be reasoned with. He is too obsessive, too determined to seek forbidden knowledge. So, kidnap or kill.
One does not venture into Hades if they are merely dipping their toe in things, it would seem. On this, I would agree, Scythia.
I'm already pulling a javelin off my back.
Despoina, you had a point?
Yeah, the figure he's talking to, is that, would I potentially recognize it or gain any more insight into it?
They are not a powerful person within the realm of Hades. No one is. Other than Hades and his direct consorts. This person obviously had power and strength in the mortal realm, and what you see are merely the sort of trappings that have been hung around them in ironic sort of recognition of their works on the mortal plane. This is not a person of importance to the land you are in.
Have they seen us?
At this point in time, no.
The spirit he converses with is likely that of Archaeus, a great tyrant king who was his direct patron at the cost of great suffering to those he chose to be Erastus's test subjects. His death was widely celebrated on his home island. It seems that without his support, Erastus has run out of means to continue his search.
I can tell you now, he contributes nothing still.
It seems we are in some way agreed.
Before you go on your heroic monologue, and you rush in there, charging, yelling after your vigorous workout, maybe we take a moment to do it less openly.
Whatever do you mean?
Have you heard of covert?
Covert? What is that like when one's being stealthy?
Yes, in this moment, dear champion. I know it may be, but maybe instead, if it's more to you, both of you rush in there, openly, with your sheer power and defiance in gods, and you overwhelm him from the front, whilst we go round the back to try and take that surprise.
Clank, 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 clank. Yes, I will sneak behind him.
I see nothing wrong with this.
Yeah.
Back in the chain.
I can ask Nyx to... Well, do the
Indeed.
gods have power?
Indeed.
I will ask
Hades
Nyx
will not like
to...
it.
Good! I will ask Nyx to shield your approach.
So your intention, if I get this correctly, is to initiate a combat, a blood and valor contest. But in order to get there, you would like to be to use reason and sneak and stealth and all of these other things from Dungeons and Dragons in order to try and gain an advantage in this particular moment. So, with that in mind, with conflicting desires and needs in this moment, I think it's time we move into our final contest phase. We shall move into battle.
Yes.
So, battle takes place over 3 consecutive and interconnected rounds of contest. To start with, we will have a clash. In this, you and your opponent will make your opening moves, maneuvering for a superior position. I think given your attempts and interest in doing that by using craft and reason, by trying to be sneaky and careful in your approach, that this particular contest will take place in that area. Craft and reason, that will be the domain for this clash. The winner of this clash, the best hero in this clash, will gain a D10 advantage die that they may use once during one of the subsequent rounds of the battle.
Can
So-
only they use it, or can they give it to someone else?
I will allow you to give it to somebody else.
Yes.
And is that used? That's used as one of the two that you choose.
It's added to
not-
your pool. You roll it. If you roll a 1 on it, it's just a 1.
Cool.
And you probably rolled higher on something else.
Yeah.
But it
You'd hope
helps.
so.
So, to start with, this is a clash. I need to roll. So you are going to come up against. So your attempts in this particular clash is to sneak past in order to gain the upper hand, to catch unawares both he and the person that he is talking to. Erastos will didn't get this far without being careful, keen-eared. He has dodged the assassin's creed many times in these moments, and he has felt the long stiletto blade of the assassin move past him more times than he cares to remember. So he is going to try and catch you before you sneaked up to him. However, he probably doesn't have much going for him in this particular one. He is Erastos the magician, the 8. He's well learned. He has suffered these things before. This will make this perilous, this battle, or this clash. Should you fail...
We'll take fate, I'm guessing.
I've forgotten. I've lost my piece of paper.
You just die. Bam.
Perilous. You will take pathos if you suffer.
Oh.
So you don't want to suffer this one. So, D8, D8. And he is obsessed with achieving his goals. So a D10. That is a 10. Which makes this a 15 in order to win this. So, this clash, simply to gain advantage, your target is a 15. Who among you will face this contest?
I, Prochorus, God Scourge, will face this challenge. I'm going to do the plan we said, which was that we are going to attack to give them a chance to sneak, and I will also be calling on Nyx.
Okay. So you want to
So-
use your name, your epithet, your D4, and your other domain,
And the actual domain.
and the actual domain. Yes. Who else amongst you may face this contest?
Deimos, Forge Master, with the help of Hephaestus and my friend Breaking Rocks, a cloak made of them to disguise me.
Nice. Your name, your your epithet, and your D4
And the domain.
and the domain die. Anyone else? Any other heroes trying to hit a 15? There are
So
2
you-
more rounds to this contest.
Yeah,
by the way.
I'm thinking I'm going to use a bond, because I have 1 left, and I'm sneaking isn't my strong suit. So yeah, I'm going to give my I, Polythrastes, the unshakable pillar, will be stealthy, and I will abide by the plan of you lot, and not a soul will hear me.
Falls into crouch.
And I will, honoured Demos, may you be as quiet as custard rustling. And I will. Oh, no, hit a lump on the table.
Cool. So you're not engaging in the contest. You are simply adding your name
I'm helping
to
him,
Demos.
and you know I'm
That
gonna.
makes sense. Would either of you like to join this contest, or would either of you like to give your name to another?
I have no bonds left.
It's up to you then. So 15.
It's a
You
15.
can keep saying it and it'll stay the same. So
If no other heroes wish to take this on, then we can move forwards.
I think.
I think we put our best people forward.
Okay, roll. Test your fortune.
So Polythestes and
That is
Prochorus
not the
walk
right
out.
dice.
Your
That's
two-
because I rolled a 9 on it and was like, that can't be
That's a
right.
D12. It's a D10.
D10.
Yeah.
The name dice is just added to the pool.
You need to add a D8, not a D.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, added to the pool. But you didn't call on any gods, did you?
Did.
You did. So the D4
So just add the d4.
to the two highest.
Ooh.
16!
Nice.
You suffer. And mark pathos.
Oh, I need to mark a pathos because I...
What actions did you take in this contest, and what effects did they have?
I was not seen. However, to move with a cloak made of rocks
Oh.
at a speed that they are requiring is beyond my capabilities. I remain unseen.
You remain unseen.
However, I am in no way close to anyone important.
But more importantly, attention is drawn away. There is a sound of rocks moving. Erastes' attention is drawn towards this strange sound, and although he is not particularly upright in there, you succeed in attracting the kind of danger sense that he has on, which leaves an opening. Chorus. What actions do you take? What effect do they have on this clash?
Now that there is a real fight in front of him, you will see Prochorus change. There is a deftness and a purpose to his movements. He says a silent prayer to Nyx, and all three of you are shrouded in darkness that lets you can see your target, but you know that you are hidden. The javelin is hefted in Prochorus' hand, and as Erastos' head turns to hear you at the sound of the rocks, he releases the javelin, and before it has flown a couple of meters, the spear is picked up, and Prochorus starts to run towards Erastos. And as the javelin hits, what is he wearing?
Seems to be just wearing just basic clothes, toga, not wearing armor. He's a magician.
As the javelin hits his shoulder, there is a scream of pain, and he has blood pooling out of his arm.
He does indeed. You gain 1 point of glory and 1 point of pathos. You gain 16 points of glory
Glory.
An advantage.
and
dice.
a D10 advantage die. You may gift it to another player in either of the next two, but you must
Selfish and nasty.
you must spend a bond in order to do it as well. So, the clash is over, and next, Erastos reacts. The threat is raised. His cry of pain, the blood spilling from him, he wheels around, seeing you, and you see and feel as there is a great shuddering. Blue flame pours in, seeming to be pulled down, out from above where you came in. You feel around you this pocket of Hades that is embedded beneath the island. This part of the island seems to shudder and shake. The heroes must make a choice. You must choose to either seize control of the final battle, which will allow you to set the domain for the finale, and also be completely in control of narrating Erastos' final what happens to them. Or you must seek to defend, to protect against the disasters that Erastos is unleashing. As you see this blue flame swirling around and pulling down from the sanctum above, you see that he is removing the safeguards that hold his magic together. The mana is starting to twist and destroy itself, crumbling to the ground. If that were to do so, you, the heroes, Orphne and himself, may be stuck here in the depths of Tartarus, in the depths of Hades' realm. So, you would need to defend against him destroying the mana, and you would need to defend against him trapping you and himself and Orphne here. So there are 2 threats to defend against. Each of you can only defend against 1. However, a battle still remains to seize control for the finale. So, which pathway would your heroes like to tread?
Do we all have to go down one, or can we split it up?
You will all split up, but you can all pick up.
I mean, Prochorus is mid-stride to strike him,
Cool.
so attacking.
Is this the call to contest?
We will start with the contest to defend. Who amongst you wishes to defend against the outcomes that Erastos' threats are placing here?
I, Polythrastes, the unshakable pillar, will defend.
I, Scythia the Cunning, really do not want to be stuck here for all eternity, so I'm going to be defending to my utmost ability.
Nice. Erastos the Magician, defiant, and calling upon the power of Phobos.
I think I saved 2.
Can we lend our name in this if we're doing the other one?
No. You can lend your name, but you would then not participate in seizing control.
That's fine.
So I'm just going to set your target in case anyone else wants to join. 1, 2, 3. So that is a 8. Is the strife in this particular instance. Would anyone else like to add their name to this contest?
Which
To defend.
domain?
Ooh, this
Yeah.
is going to be a fight of resolve and spirit.
Stop making it so appealing.
No others? The two of you, as long as you both succeed, all will be good. So your name dies. Not your epithet, but your epithet.
Yeah, I've
Fair enough.
And your domain dies for resolve and spirit.
Oh, have I lost a die?
Oh.
Yes, you gave it to Oren.
Thank you.
So, and did you call upon a god?
This is Phobos, so it's mythic, so we have to, don't we?
You have to call upon a divine.
I have not as of yet. I am going to call upon my newly gained favour of Apollo to grant me the knowledge that I need to know how to better counter this fire than I did last time.
Awesome.
I am using the conviction of Demeter, and I'm going to call out from my very soul to implore the shades that reside outside of this realm of Hades to return and to bolster the portal, so that we might escape, and so when it closes they are not left outside. So that will be domain, name, epithet, Demeter.
Test your fortune.
Ooh. Oh. That is brutal.
Not enough.
That's really brutal.
You needed to get an 8.
I got exactly an 8.
Highest, 1 for the god, and then a 2, and a 3.
Brutal.
So 5. 6.
So 2.
1 success, 1 failure. You are able. Which threat would you like to defend against? The collapsing of the mansion and the islands that may trap you here. The collapsing of the mansion and the island, or your attempt at entrapment here.
The latter.
You wish to seek to avoid the damage done, but the island, the fortress of Orphanay, will fall in its. And you see as it sort of swirls and starts to crumble and pull down into this rift that is occurring. Those of you who wish to seize control of the battle,
slow clap.
who among you will face the contest to seize control?
Can I seize control and then do the next one?
All of you will then participate in the
In the last
finale.
one.
Yes.
So, I, Prochorus. I'm not sure I can call on God Scourge here. It's not God. I'm directly attacking him, right? Is this Blood and Valor? Yeah. So I, Prochorus, will
Your
call.
target is going to be a 12.
We'll call on the fortitude of Poseidon and, dick over Hades.
I will put my name forward using my bond.
Thanks.
I, the spoiler, hunter's eye, given me as much clarity and clear vision as use my other domain and my connection to the meter, my utmost conviction to face this.
Cool. So that's your name, your epithet, your domain of blood and valor, and your god die, the d4.
Did you say it's a 12?
And you are aiming for 12.
At least it's not too
I am not going to use the d10.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to save that.
when is it the d8 if it's the highest, one of the highest,
Roll the 3d6 and the d8 and add together the 2 highest of whatever dice, and then add whatever is on the d4. And you're aiming for a 12. It's fine. It's easy.
I can beat 8.
You need to hit an 11.
Oh. Yes. 13.
This wasn't meant to be the brutal game.
What did you score?
In total?
Yes.
14.
13.
Both of you prevail in this moment. Prochorus, what actions do you take in this moment to seize control of the battle?
I am continuing from the javelin spear. I have picked the javelin spear, the
Sure.
javelin throw, and I have shield and spear in hand, and I am just charging at Erastos. I will duck down, hit him with the blunt end of my spear, and then kind of leap up from the ground and barge him over onto the floor with my shield.
You see he stumbles, and the shade that he was talking to kind of rushes forward to protect and move over him. But incorporeal though he is, he's sort of struggling to do that. Arasti's trying to crawl away. Spoiler, what actions do you take to win this seized control?
I jump down from behind, sprinting as well. I see the spirit of a killer.
Yes, something like that, yeah. Arceus, yeah.
Hold my shield down with force, and as it, you see the spirit, it cuts through the middle and center, hitting the back of the skull of the magician.
Erastos, yeah.
Erastos, as the shield comes back to my hand, and I jam my spear into his other shoulder to match the earlier foot on the back of his head, digging into the wound I just made with the shield.
Oh, he's
Pinned
now
to
got
the
this.
ground.
I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound.
He is still a magician and,
Tis but a scratch.
and still holding his magical power. You gain 7 glory, 14 glory. You have seized control of the finale, which means we come to one final roll of conflict. As the person who was the best hero in seizing control, what domain would you like to attempt this final conflict against? Is this a military victory, or are you going to win them over through some other means?
And everyone
All of you will participate, and one of you has at least an advantage die that they can throw in.
Well, given I think using my own, this is a battle of as they attack back with whatever magic they have, injures and resist in this magic itself with what I think. So I'm going to protect Resolve and Spirit.
Resolve and Spirit is the final domain for this conflict. Erastos the Magician, well-learned, defiant. Well-learned is not relevant here. Defiant is. Will call one final time on Phobos's blue flame to protect him.
Does that make it mythic?
Makes it mythic.
What if I can't call a god?
Then you cannot add your name to this conflict. You can potentially add help share your name to someone
No
else.
bonds.
No bonds remain. Demos is unable to
I have
participate.
aided my fellows.
Your target
It's
will
their
be
time.
You're just a rock in the, over
that
the
is
side.
another 0, so that is another 15
Oh, come
to
on.
win this finale.
Let's do it.
Who among you will face this final contest, the finale battle, and through resolve and spirit overcome Erastos the Magician?
I, Despoina, Hunter's Eye, offspring of Persephone, with the power of Persephone, this great change in the battle onwards, using as well another domain.
Your dice, your name, your epithet, your 2 domains, and your D4. Who else will face this?
I, Polythrastes, the unshakable pillar, will force you to submit, villain, and your parlor tricks.
Name, epithet, domain.
Which god are you calling?
And I am going to call on the daring of Hermes. Because apparently conviction is a flaky thing, but daring is worth a shot.
D4. Who else amongst you will call upon this?
I, Scythia the Cunning, will face this contest. I will mark Pathos in order to add my craft and reason die to this pool, and I will double down upon being as cunning as I ever have been by calling upon the aid of Hera.
3d6, 1d8, and a D4.
I, Prochorus, will use the advantage I have gained and call on the daring of Hermes as to take advantage of all of my allies' actions and wait for that perfect strike to end Erastos's life. So I will be, I've marked a Pathos.
Name, domain, other domain, and a D4. I don't think God's Scourge comes in here, does it?
No, I didn't
No.
need it. And the D10.
And the D10 of advantage. Okay. Your pools are created. Your target is 15. Test your
Your
fortune.
I'm going to roll like a 1 on the D10, aren't I?
Oh, haven't I rolled a 1 every time I've had an 8?
It's bad.
15. Meet or beat?
Bad.
Prochorus.
11.
Polythrastes.
10.
12. Nice.
You suffer. You suffer. You suffer. But you prevail. Who rolled the lowest
I
on...
think that was me. I got 10.
What actions did you take? What impacts did they have? How did you fail?
So Polythrastes squared up to the rather hunched now form of the magician and the fearsome kind of sentient soul flame, and he entreated, into this combat as this flickering blue flame goes to lash, and Polythrastes. Have at you, you illusion! Scour me to the bone! See that my conviction is unmatched! And oh, there we go.
Flame flickers up, fires around you, pouring in a more, because it has been pulled down from above, it has become even stronger and more powerful. And you quite literally do feel that sense of being scourged. Your spirit, your soul,
burns my
almost
soul.
kind of like pulling through, pulling out, but it flickers away in a moment as... who was next?
I think it was me.
What actions do you take? What impact do they have?
If I lose a pathos for this, I've lost 5 pathos. Does that have an impact on
Nope.
this? Cool. I am in the midst of this magic going off around, the fire moving around me. I am steadfast. I am there ready for this strike, and I pull my spear back, and then I just see Hades' image in front of me, and he smiles, shakes his head, and my spear shatters, and I have nothing to land the blow with.
A moment of indecision causes you to hold back. Scythia, what actions do you take and how do you fail?
Using the last of the cover granted to us by Nyx, I continue in our path. I reach the already wounded magician, already flat on his back, thanks to Despoina's previous attack. He's writhing far too violently and shielding himself with the flame of Phobos. I know what I must do in order to clear the path, for I cannot prevail by myself this time. I take my beloved Atlatl, load 3 of my remaining spears into it, and with a slight moment of hesitation, I wait until I get the confirmation, that slight twinge in the back of my mind that tells me that Hera has responded to my request. As I jump and throw my spears out of my Atlatl downwards, Hera guides their path, and they land, pinning Erastus's cloak perfectly in place, immobilizing him for Despoina's strike, and I can only watch as I tumble over, landing very inelegantly, possibly dislocating a shoulder in the process, as my beloved wooden Atlatl is consumed by the fire of Phobos.
Fire of Phobos kind of pulls around this thing, this vitally important thing, as it starts to burn blue, and you see also the blue kind of mixes in as the flames of Hades kind of consume the last embers of it, and into nothingness, and almost as if it never existed. However, Despoina, what actions did you take to win this finale? And more importantly, what outcome do you foresee for your vanquished foe?
Having seen the flame giants, I think back first. Immediately my allies threw themselves into the cockpit, and I'm going to use their efforts as Polythrastes tries to land a blow and is immediately shot back with the... I use that opportunity to jam my spear across his heels, forcing him to the ground. You see no mortals may fear your flame, but it is nothing but a distant cousin to me. As I jump back spear, it shatters. I use my shield to ram the pieces into his chest. Ore, the dread perception guides these blows upon your heart. As I ram it, feeling the blood course down the shield. I see his pinned cloak from my friend Cynthia. She's fallen back, and I pick up the spears they shot from just before the first play, and I ram them into his back, in from both sides. And as he's lying there, facing me, it's quite pitiful. Necromancer's father, what you aim. It's my dad's job. And I pick up my shield, and I hit him over the back of the head with it, before using my spear to end his life, as I jam through his skull.
Brutal.
This is an old man.
Not
Spear
anymore.
passes
Now
through
he's a
him
dead man.
and pierces into the rock of Hades. And you watch as erupting from this piercing moment, fire and darkness pour forth and pin him, trapped here between death and life, like a butterfly pinned to a rock deep within the realms. Hades does not like others who wish to take his power and use it, and he now has a little plaything to enjoy. Above you, you hear the sound of the island tumbling and rumbling. Orphane's domain collapses, but you see and hear the sounds of the dead above. Some pouring, trying to get back through the rift, holding open a small area for you all to make your escape. You pour out of the red darkness and out onto the desolated island. There are still a few dead here, wandering, but the rift closes behind you.
Can I have just flipped Hades as I walk out, please?
Absolutely. He nods and smiles. What impact these wandering lost souls may have on the world, you do not yet know. But for now, the strife here on the island of Acorus has been put to an end, and you watch as the sun rises from the dark sky. Thank you very much for playing
Nice.
Agon Heroes. What other adventures may occur? Who
That was
knows
good.
on
That was
these
good.
dark seas? But for now, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you if you've been watching along at home or if you've been watching this on demand. We're going to take a small break. We're going to be back here for our next game very shortly. But see you very soon. Thank you.